Give me the other, man. Give me the other. Next time I'm crushed over that thing. I wasn't snitching. Next time I'm crushed. Dude, I wasn't snitching.
Why are you stealing this man's winter coat? Yes, the man's wearing $1,000 winter coat, but that's his prerogative. If he wants to wear a $1,000 winter coat, he can. Why are you taking it upon yourself to take the coat off of someone else's back?
I would never want this to happen to someone. I actually lost my own. I had a New York coat that was so nice, and no one took it off of my back, but I left it in a bathroom in an Atlanta airport, and it was taken. So I feel the pain, but not quite in this sense. But this looks like a subway. Either this is New York or Chicago, if it's in the United States, most likely. I'm assuming. Maybe it's somewhere else. But typically on subways, there's kind of a norm across subway systems that they're not super safe, and you're likely to run into homeless, and you're also likely to run into people with mental illness, right? I've seen living in New York, y'all know I lived in New York, in Harlem, and also in Brooklyn. And I mean, yeah, you definitely see a lot of people of all types of background. Now in Harlem, I saw mainly Black people that were, out in the streets or impoverished or doing certain things on subways. And then in other areas of Manhattan, I would see more white people with, obviously they're homeless or, they have some type of mental issue or both, of course. Likely those are tied in to, be very similar situations that people will have that lead them into homelessness. But anywho, yeah, this is common. I can't deny what's in this video. We've seen plenty of these instances.
You steal it. When it comes to the subway and the sheer, we talked about it earlier in another video, but the amount of crimes that we see happen on a subway, from the robberies, from the stabbings, to the shootings, to the homeless, there's a common denominator that needs to be addressed and talked about, and it's sad that it's this way. And we know it's us, Black.
Well, yeah, because it ties right into poverty. If we really wanted to fix issues, we wouldn't make videos and say, oh yeah, Black people, all these stereotypes are true, y'all are just violent and committing crimes for no reason. No, there are reasons, and if you really wanted to change something, you get into the reasons of why it's happening and then fix those. And then from there, if it's still happening, then you can make some other points. However, it's simply not true. All this stuff ties back into either your mindset or your physical conditions.
People, and it's this way because there was this tweet that someone has said, we keep telling y'all to stop with the damn jackets on the train here because of this, and y'all won't stop. Then he fighting back for it. These N-words will kill you, and go to KIPP the next day. They don't care. This was tweeted by a Black person warning white people to stop wearing their nice winter coats on the train because other Black people will go out and steal them. Again, this isn't a big F you, I hate Black people video, but we can acknowledge the trends and acknowledge what's going on, so much so where this person can easily put a tweet out like this as if we all will understand why you probably shouldn't wear a nice coat in a Black community. And really, I should correct myself, and this
is the thing I would say. I'm not going to wear a super nice, expensive coat in a number of places. I'm not going to take that type of coat in another country that is impoverished. I am not going to take that coat into the hood, as he's mentioning. It depends. It depends where I am. It might depend. But yeah, in general, no. I would not take it to a white community that is considered like a trailer park, somewhere that is impoverished. There's plenty of those places, especially throughout the Midwest, which is where I'm from. I would not do that to myself. And I would have other safety reasons of why I would not do that. And let's see. Oh yeah, on a New York subway or Chicago in general, and San Francisco, just high crime. I wouldn't go to a high crime area and do something like that. Right, especially not getting onto a subway public system.
It's a Black community, but a Black low income, or like the hood, should I say?
Is he not recognizing that there are Black communities like Atlanta and Buckhead? There are communities where it's very wealthy. You're likely not going to get attacked for your items if you're in a very wealthy location. And then the other thing to consider, like I was saying, is that, my family has owned land on my mom's side, and I visit the area, and you're going to feel really safe, and it's all Black. it's like family, friends, right, in the area. And so it's that type of community where everyone knows each other. You're going to feel safer in that type of environment. And when you have these impoverished communities, there's a lack of trust, so you're not trusting your neighbor. No one's looking out for each other. And so, you're likely going to feel less safe. But anywho, let's continue to hear what his perspective is.
You wouldn't see this happening in an affluent Black neighborhood. They even found out about this because this white woman had tweeted, "In my 90% white town, I can walk around wearing all of my jewelry, a cashmere coat, and a nice handbag with a wallet full of cash. I can leave my doors unlocked, I can leave my laptop in my car overnight, and no one steals it. I accidentally left a scooter at the park, went back 3 days later, and it was right where I left it. This is what your life could be like without diversity." And this.
So I do want to make the point that she's saying in her white town, a town is very different than a city with a subway system like that one. If a city has a robust subway system, they are likely a large metropolitan city. That's very different than a town. A suburb, a town, like they're likely going to have less incidents because one, you have a lower population, and then as a part of that, you're going to have less poverty and less crime altogether because it's not a densely populated city. So you can make that argument, but she's saying a white town. If you have a city where it's really, and I could say diversity to mean people of a different socioeconomic background. Everyone doesn't have extensive amounts of wealth. You're going to have some issues either way, but that's my opinion. I'm not presenting data here. I'm waiting on his data.
My car overnight, and no one steals it. I accidentally left a scooter at the park, went back 3 days later, and it was right where I left it.
Also, this is my thing. I could use a situation myself. I go to a dance studio, and it is primarily Black, and there are some that are also Hispanic, and I think there's a little bit of a few Asians in the class as well. So I go there very often. I know the folks. Generally, there's some that I don't know, but I know majority of the folks there. And yes, I can leave my nice bag, my Kate Spade purse, my whatever, right? It's not extremely expensive items, but I can just leave stuff around without having the concern that people are going to take it. I could use that as an example as well. It's the reasoning is what needs to be explained here. It's not that stereotypes about Black people are all true. It's that, Black people in general, you're going to run into issues that the majority of white people don't have. So you're looking at the majority of Black people and the majority of white people, and it's flipped. The situations are flipped. So you're going to have different issues.
This is what your life could be like without diversity. And the sad part is there's data behind this. This isn't just like a racist tweet. There's literally data behind this. And it opens up the door for a lot of conversation of, I'm a fan of diversity. I'm in it for a lot of conversation.
So he flashed this visual that I can't see, of course. So this is robbery, homicide. I'm saying it slowly for YouTube. So it's showing the offender race and it's showing the victim race. So the data this data that he is presenting here proves this point. I would love to see, because it looks like this is a time frame of 5 years. I would love to see the trends of what has been reported, because these are incidents that are reported. One, and these are people that have been caught and likely found guilty. There are plenty of people that do get away with plenty of crimes and are found innocent. We can have a discussion about that where I'm the one that has to bring the data and the information. But what you're seeing here is true. I won't fight against the data that I'm seeing. However, I would love to see data across a longer period of time, because there have been plenty of times in this country where this data that we're seeing was flipped, and we were very much, in fact, victims. I think it's disingenuous to not talk about that. The other point I will make is that, with this, sure, we're talking about, the different crimes. These are certain crimes, right? Robbery, homicide. I would love to see some white collar crimes and those type of activities also displayed. I would love for him to show the data for that, because that's where I think Black people have less of the crimes. But also that's where a lot of people get away with crimes as well as these more violent crimes. So it really depends on what people are classifying crime.
I'm a fan of diversity. I'm in an interracial relationship. I'm fine with diversity if you assimilate to that culture's standards of what makes that culture so great.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show